I want to talk to you about ecosystems. You may be saying, what the hell are you talking about, Joey? What is an ecosystem? Not ecosystem in the environmental sense, but a product ecosystem. Buying an Apple phone, which then leads to an Apple computer, which leads to an iPad, which leads to the Apple TV and the Apple TV streaming services. When you buy in, you buy in. This video isn't about Apple. It's about camera stuff, because of course I do videos about camera stuff all the time now. I almost pulled the trigger on a Peak Design tripod over the last couple of days. Peak Design came up with these really, really nice tripods. They fit well into like drink holders in your backpack, like the netting. And I'm like, this thing, it would pack easy. It works with the snaps that they have, the capture clips. All of these things work together nicely. And I almost pulled the trigger, except that the cheapest Peak Design tripod is $350. And then the lighter aluminum carbon or carbon fiber tripod is $600. $600 for a freaking tripod. And I almost pulled the trigger on it because I wanted this ease of use. I wanted all of these things to snap together really easily and everything to just work. But let me stop there. Ecosystem. So this is a Peak Design capture clip. You can put it on your bag, so if you have a strap over here, you snap it on and it goes into different places. You can put it on your belt if you wanted to. It connects your camera. So let me give you an example. This is all going to make sense in a couple minutes. This is the clip that goes in the bottom of the camera. Here's a camera. You screw this on. I'm going to screw this onto the bottom of this camera. I'm going to do that right now. You're not going to see that part. FYI. A lot of people complained about this plate system for cameras because you need an Allen wrench to connect it. A lot of other plate systems for cameras, a lot of other plate systems will have something like this at the bottom where you can use like a quarter to screw it in, or sometimes they have a tab. There's another one I have with a tab. We're going to get into all that in a second. But you can easily find something that's in your pocket to screw one of these on to the bottom of a camera. But the screwing things on to the bottom of a camera is kind of the basis of this entire video. Every time I want to use a different tripod, and I have a lot of different tripods. I have the Gobi GorillaPod that all of the YouTubers use, right? They get the cameras and they kind of like do this with them, you know, so you can look at yourself. This is like the first tripod I bought because I was trying to be Casey Neistat, and Casey Neistat used this, so I bought it. I hate this. I don't think I've ever actually used it. They don't stay up. I'm not again, I've mentioned before that I'm not like the world-class photographer or even remotely close to that, or videographer or anything of the sort. But the minute I got a camera and I tried to put one of these things on, I said, this thing is going to break my camera that I just spent all this money on. So, but I'm using this as an example. Different mounting system. We're going to get to that. So then, Peter McKinnon did a video on this switch pod. Okay, cool. This thing, again, it's a little bit cleaner. It stays up. It's made out of durable material. It's small for packaging. Wow. You can vlog and hold it. Yay. Here's the thing about vlogging. I've noticed that while I have all of this equipment, I am very hesitant. Hesitant is the word. To go out into the street with a camera attached to something like this and film myself talking. I have more discreet things that I will use if I want to do something like that, because if children are in the room, put the fingers in the ears. You look like an asshole. You look like an asshole when you walk around with these rigs. And I thought I would maybe be the exception. I would look cool. And I remember walking home from dinner in the streets of Philadelphia one night. We were coming out of a restaurant in Center City, and somebody had like the rig, right? The Neistat rig with the Joby GorillaPod and the microphone on top and the big ass camera. I'm like, man, that guy looks like an asshole. And like, you know, I look like that guy. If I could see myself being that guy, and I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person. So I digress. Tripods, the handheld tripods, doing all of the things with the cameras, making the videos, putting yourself in, vlogging. where possible, try to be more discreet with these things, because you do look like an asshole. I don't feel good about this. This does not look like something a 40-plus-year-old man should be walking around doing. Doesn't feel right. Feels like something a teenager should be doing, putting on makeup and getting into fights with other YouTubers. But anyway, going back to this video and ecosystems, clips and ecosystems. This has a different mount. So if I wanted to use this, I would have to screw this thing in at the bottom of a camera. You know, it's awkward to have to screw this in. So a lot of people will replace the heads, so you can pop these things off, and then you can get something else and get a clip system, like the Peak Design Capture clip stuff. So I attached this mount. If I wanted to use my clip, I can just, the camera you can kind of hang on a strap or in a bag, right, or on your belt. Again, I think I mentioned belt before too. This thing will hook on, and then you can use it. You can easily access your camera. I bought this because I thought it was cool, and it is cool. But I'm also immensely terrified at the idea of hanging my camera on a strap, a backpack strap, or some other bag, or my belt, and I just feel like the camera's gonna get knocked around and just get the crap beat out of it. So I'm a little bit afraid of this, and I've had this sitting in the box probably for 1.5 years, 2 years. Literally, here's the box. All right, and I took it out of the box. Finally, I took it out of the box because I wanted the mounting plate. I wanted to look at the mounting plate for this video, for this conversation. So I'm afraid of this thing. I want to use it, but I have feelings about it. But I hadn't even thought about the fact that all of these different tripods that I have, and I'm going to show you my tripods now. And I'm using a tripod right now that uses a custom plating system. So, but I needed to put the camera on something, so I would have showed this too. GorillaPod. Shaky camera because I'm on the table. SwitchPod. Tripod that I'm using right here. This is it's not a Manfrotto. Geek 2. This is a Geek 2 tripod. It's got a mounting, it's got a different clip system. Now this one, I'm going to show you something. This one, if I have, and I didn't know this would happen, if I have the Peak Design, well, I really should put the legs out here. If I have the Peak Design plate on here, I can use that Peak Design plate, screw this in, and guess what? Oh, it's secured. I don't have to take the plate off. So I don't need to use this custom plate that came with this. I can use the plate that comes with the clip system for Peak Design. Lovely, right? Lovely. Except that tripod I'm using right here, those little tripods, doesn't work that way. They don't have the right, they don't have like a capture mount like this. Right? So I can use this tripod, which I didn't know last week that I could do that, but I could use this one. Can't, the other tripod's not so much. And I have another tripod that's like 6.5, 7 feet tall that'll go up so I can shoot down when I'm standing up. That one also doesn't have the plate. So I'm like, how can I use my Peak Design capture clip so I don't have to keep taking them off of my cameras and changing the plates? How can I use that? Is there an adapter? The answer is yes. So on Amazon, I have two. Look, check this out. These look exactly the same. Two different companies make them. They look exactly the same. And I said to myself, well, one of them became recommended in a YouTube video that I was looking at, and I was like, all right, cool. That was the, I'm gonna butcher this. Harwerrel. Harwerrel. So that was one that came recommended, but I can only buy one of these. Amazon wouldn't let me buy two. I really should have bought more, but I wanted to test these out. So then, Newer, who makes a whole ton of camera equipment, they also sell this, basically the same exact thing. Newer quick release plate with bubble level Arca-Swiss type. That's the thing, the Arca-Swiss type. So theoretically, you can put one of these things on an existing mount system, and you'll be able to capture that. You hear my dog barking? My dog. Sometimes the microphone doesn't pick up the dog, but she's rude. Now I got this thing out of the box. By the way, my opinion of, even though they look exactly the same, the newer one has smoother. I know this one's the newer one because it turns smoother. This is like butter. This one feels cheap. The difference, $13, $15. So $2 difference, but this one feels cheaper. The Harwerrel. This one not so much. This one feels really smooth. So we're gonna put this one on. So I take it out of the box and I'm like, oh, this is exciting. Let me check it out. And I'm like, I'll use the switch pod. Switch pod. Screw right here. Screw right here. You gotta take the screw out of the plate. None of the other YouTubers said that. So there I am. Useless me. There's my differentiator. When you buy these plates, you got to take the screw out that comes with it. You don't screw it down, you screw it in.
You screw it in.
You pop this guy in, all right, like this, and it's on a nice ball head, I guess. So now this is on. I'm going to expand the legs. And now I'm going to get this camera, my test camera. Here we go. So theoretically, I can leave my Peak Design capture clip plate on the bottom of this camera. And if I buy these adapter plates for all the other tripod systems that I have, I don't have to take that thing off. I don't have to screw it in to other things. In the case of leaving the plate on the camera at all times, I really like the fact that you need the hex key to tighten it because I think it'll stay on better. You don't need to keep screwing things on and off on all of these different cameras if you buy the transition plate. That's a big win for me. Ecosystems, right? So I can use my fancy Peak Design stuff. I had to buy an extra plate just because I wanted a plate for both of the cameras that I have. $29 for the plate. It's a little expensive. Peak Design, they're expensive for everything. I mean, it's $600 for a freaking carbon fiber tripod. So this worked really well. And frankly, I like the idea of having something you can tighten on the side versus having to screw it on with the whole damn leg system, which again, that's really only happens for the travel systems, like the smaller travel tripods. But this was a win. I didn't test any of this out beforehand. And you're probably like, yeah, no shit, Joe, because I could tell. Oh, look, I'm Casey Neistat. What happened to Casey Neistat? He doesn't make videos anymore. Where did he go? Look, yay. All I need is an electric skateboard and fall on my ass in style. People can turn it into memes and stuff. So ecosystems. Product ecosystems. Sometimes you're screwed. Sometimes you're forced buying into everything and paying a premium for all of the stuff that you want to use if you want everything to be smooth. And sometimes there are $15 converter plates that you can use, so you can start to have one plate and you don't have to keep changing things on your camera. You can have one thing set up and you can snap it to different things without having to pay for a $600 tripod or a $350 tripod. This one was less than $100. It was on sale on B&H. And listen, I know that Peak Design one's nicer than that one. There's no question that the Peak Design one is way nicer. But would you rather spend $600 on a tripod, or would you rather spend $600 on a brand new lens? You tell me. My objective with anything involving my cameras and the videos that I make is to make this as easy as possible. I don't want to have to struggle. I don't want to be frustrated when I start a video. So if I can do something where I have one plate, I can use all these weird little tripods that I have that I've collected over time, that some suck, Joby. Some may work. I really don't know how I feel about this, Peter McKinnon. On paper it looks good, and he's like all cool with his hands. He's all like, oh, look, Would I love to have a Peak Design tripod, whether it's the aluminum or the carbon one? Yes, but again, I don't want to spend the money for that. I'd rather buy something else. I'd rather buy another piece of equipment to make my life easier. Because the reality is, I don't think that I'm going to bring a tripod on a plane with me, a tripod that big, and fit in my carry-on. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think it's going to, first of all, I think it's going to fall out. Even Peak Design's own bag system, I think that thing would pop out. I'm going to carry something small, tiny. You know what I usually have in my bag? This. I usually carry this thing around with me because it's small and it fits in the camera bag. I don't have to waste the slot. Links below for the 2 different types of mounts that I bought if you guys are interested. No, I'm not doing any affiliate stuff or anything like that, but if you're just curious, they're basically the same, but if you're gonna, for the difference of $1, the newer one definitely feels better than the other guy, so I would go with that. But besides that, they're exactly the same. They look exactly the same, so dealer's choice. If Peak Design has a sale on those tripods, I'm buying one. That's probably gonna happen for reals. But until then, I'm gonna make do with what I have because I have like 6 different tripods, and yeah, I'm not buying another one. Thanks for watching.